hear the entire show and many others, visit www.PureMomentumNetwork.net.
Before I started doing tours with, like-minded people, going back to, quite a few years ago now, actually, I used to do tours with with local archaeologists, especially amateur archaeologists and trained ones besides. And I was always the butt, Pamela, of their joke when we used to go for a little drink afterwards. It was, oh, Maria, everything with you, touchy, feely. You can't prove a thing. And that really angered me. And I'm glad that it angered me. Because I said, okay, bet on, I'm going to bet you some money that I can prove this. And I got a team with Rodney Hale, who's very well known in this area for working with other Earth Mysteries authors, such as Paul Devereaux. Rodney came. He's an expert in analyzing electromagnetic energies. He's very left brain. He's very down to earth. He doesn't have to prove a thing. He doesn't support anyone. He just looks like scientists do at the cold facts of the evidence. Mm-hmm. So he rigged up a laptop, he rigged up the equipment, and just where I doused and saying this is an energy band, imagine a kind of big band going through the stone, he said, okay, now I'm going to put my equipment up then. If it's emitting an electromagnetic signal, we're going to get it. And he lifted it up and he made it audible so we could hear like a buzzing sensation if it did hit electromagnetic energy. And just where we had our dowsable points, which were long documented by my father before me, the equipment went wild. It registered every single signal. And like I say, that's on my website. He put it through what's called a scientific t-test. And a t-test means, it's either going to be 50% accurate, 80% accurate, or 20% accurate, and then it's not worth bothering with. He put it through the statistical t-test, and it came up 99.9% accurate.
Wow.
That was a strong electromagnetic signal. But more than that, he started looking at the frequencies that it was being emitted in a Hertz field. That's like cycles per second, yeah. And anyway, the beauty of it is this. Those energies that were being emitted by the chakra points, the energy bands on the stones, did so more often than not at 18 hertz. And you hear at 20. What if our ancient ancestors, so attuned to, Mother Earth, not bogged down by the e-smog, electromagnetic smog that we have today, and then our stressful lives, could hear the sounds of the stone?
Yes, I believe that's true.
Exactly. That's where I think that is the case. Then I met another researcher who was a colleague of Harry Oldfield, and Harry Oldfield's quite famous here in the UK because he developed a camera filter which Harry Oldfield says that this filter can actually capture and record Earth energy. Yeah. So I met up with one of his colleagues called Merv, and we went to a long barrow called Wayland Smithy Long Barrow, about 17 miles north of Avebury. Well, about 10 miles, actually. And anyway, we set up the equipment, and I predicted which stones would, if Harry Oldfield's equipment was correct, you could film Earth energy, and which ones weren't. Because, like I said earlier, if you plug a stone into an Earth energy current, then it starts to register these bands. And that's on my website as well. And the amazing and indeed delightful thing is it comes out of the ground, Pamela, in the chakra color sequence.
Oh, my.
Red, right the way through to violet. So look, when you're stood at Avebury by a standing stone, you can't hear the sound of the stone. You've lost that ability. You can't see the earth energy coming out in the rainbow chakra sequence, but you're being bathed in sound and you're being bathed in the wonderful chakra colors. That's the harmonic beauty of Avebury and Stonehenge.
Oh, that sounds so wonderful. And you say it in such a delicious way. It really is inviting the way you say it. It just makes all of us want to get on a plane and come over.
Well, we'll look at it on my website under Megalithic Energy. And, you know, the amazing thing for me in that moment, Pamela, was, you know, I really felt guided, even though it initially started off with being angry at people for, you know, saying I was touchy, feely. But it really got me to say, okay, I'm gonna try with my big heart to prove this big stones do these amazing things. And then when people really started to kind of interact with the stones, they were feeling that the particular earth chakra color being emitted by the stones was literally knowing how to tune into your own imbalanced chakras. So that was quite intriguing. And we went on to do some further tests. Now, Rodney's really a very clever chap. He got 2,000 meters of very fine copper coil. Copper's a good transmitter, and it can detect things. Yeah, it's really good. It wires your house. And anyway, he wrapped this round and put a stronger piece of copper around it. And he said to me, look, Maria, stand in this copper, lean against these energy bands, and let's see what's happening to your physical body. What's your response to these energy bands? I was intrigued and said, of course, I'll do that. So he had one recording of me stood up independently in the coil, not leaning on the stone. It's what's called a control setup. And then he had one with me leaning against one of the energy bands, band number 3, above the surface of the ground. And my goodness, the electromagnetic energy signal shot up as soon as I touched those stones. And I only touched the stones for 1 minute, 60 seconds, and then I had to withdraw, And the intriguing thing found with Kirlian photography and this type of experiment was this. I just touched that stone for 16 minutes. But Pamela, when I went away from Avebury Henge and was continually being monitored, and Kirlian photography has proved this in Europe as well, side by side and independently, that energy is building up in my auric field, expanding my aura for up to 4 days later after 60 seconds of interaction.
See how important this energy is? No wonder it's been hidden from us.
Well, exactly. That's what you said on the opening intro to this show. And that's why I thought, wow, Pamela is so right. Small amounts of interactions. You don't have to do a therapy 1 hour at Avebury. You just have to go there. You don't have to know where the energies are. It's a bit fun if you do, but you just use your own sense of being, your own sense of wonderment, and go around these, and you're being bathed in these sound frequencies and these photon light frequencies. So, that is the point of all of this is just by going to these places, you will change in consciousness, and you will change physically as well.
Oh my, we need it. And this might get a little woo-woo, Maria, but I go there in spirit. I go to the pyramids in spirit. I go to Stonehenge in spirit because I can't go there physically at the moment. And I go there and I ask for help while I'm there. And, I know from my own experience, and I know it with a capital K, that intention is everything. And when my intention is to receive that energy, they want to give it to me. They want to give it to all of us because that is the way everything that is organic, everything that is truly alive wants to communicate and wants to give. I know that. I'm an experiencer of that. But I have not been able to go physically, but I do make trips there spiritually. And I do ask for help, and I get it.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree wholeheartedly, because one of my spiritual teachers, going back about 10 years ago, Pamela, she was actually disabled. She couldn't walk that well, but she energetically traveled worldwide. And so absolutely, at times, if I can't go to places like Egypt, I go there energetically speaking and connect. And like you said, intent is everything,
Yes.
We set our intent and we come from the wonderful place called that heart center, then you can't really do any wrong. You just receive the beauty. And there's so much beauty out there. This is our Eden. Mother Earth is Eden, and we can interact on any level, physically, emotionally, spiritually, to really connect. And you're doing that, Pamela, and loads of other people are. That is the great thing. By hearing you saying that, you're switching on now loads of people to come to Stonehenge energetically. I love it.
To hear the entire show and many others, visit www.PureMomentumNetwork.com. PureMomentum.net.